The NFL is back, and I'm exhausted, but we're going to power through this comic book canon. That's right. We had quite the game. Philadelphia versus New England. Not sure if many of you saw it, but it was a little too close for my comfort being a Philadelphia fan, and also for my good friend, partner in crime, and co-host of the show, Joseph, as well. That was too close. That was too close. I'm exhausted. My voice is definitely affected. So when we do Ask Joe, I don't know what I'll have.
Jeff, I just muted you because as soon as I started talking, I heard the echo again. That was not happening before you got booted off before the show. So we'll try to figure that out. We were able to fix it last show. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Yeah, we fixed it by muting me, but whatever. But let's bring our other good friend, partner in crime, and co-host of the show, Christopher.
Bang, 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 bang.
You're all talking high and mighty because you destroyed the almighty Steelers. Am I right?
You know, to call them almighty at this point, honestly, I don't even want to make a joke of it because it's kind of depressing with starting the season off if you're a human being and knowing what happened with that franchise. So, but putting that aside, yeah, it was a good day for us 49er fans.
Yeah. Listen. Anytime that the Steelers lose, being a Pennsylvania resident on the other side of the state, I'm very happy to see them lose. And yeah, I'll root for the 49ers. Sure. Why not? We can go on that. You keep taking yourself off mute, and I keep hearing myself. But what I was gonna say was the game came down to the wire, and it just ended very shortly before this. And I was like trying to prep for the show at the same time I was listening to the end of the game, and it was stressing me out. But we're here. We're ready to calm down, have a relaxing night, and have a guest on.
That's right. Guest, first time in a long time. Excited about Lunch Money Comics, a.k.a. Mike, who happens to be from the New England area as well. Very excited to bring him on the show. What else do we have? We have a few nuggets of news. We are obligated in bringing in our correspondent, Chet. And as we teased on Instagram, y'all need, if you want to find out what team Chet roots for, NFL team, here it is right now. He is actually at a stadium right now, right after the game. Chet, take it away.
Reporting live from Gillette Stadium, where my beloved New England Patriots just got a harsh reality check, losing to Joe and Jeff's beloved Philadelphia Eagles. You can imagine how thrilled I am about that one. But guess what, folks? We've got a special guest tonight. And it turns out Mike from Lunch Money Comics is also a Patriots fan. Maybe, just maybe, by the end of this show, we'll be best friends or at least have something mildly tolerable in common.
Let's hope for that. So there you go. He is a Patriots fan, not bandwagon, I don't believe. We could ask Mike about that. How much cred you get for wearing a Drew Bledsoe jersey right before Tom Brady, the Tom Brady era. It was not the football gods were not too friendly to the Patriots before Tom Brady came along. So we'll just go with that. But go ahead.
I was going to say it was they had a nice little overlap there because Brady was playing back up to Bledsoe, and they did well in some of the years they were both on the team, and then obviously Brady took over and things changed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Brady or Bledsoe got hurt Brady's second year, maybe, and that was it. It was over, done. So, anyways,
it was a little bit longer than that, but hey, whatever. I was like 11 years old.
Listen, it's all good. We won't hold that against you either. All right, so moving on, we're just going to jump right into the news, and Joe is going to be taking the lead on that. So, Joseph, why don't you just take it away?
Yeah, it's been slow in the news recently, as we've known. And like I mentioned, every week, I feel like we're still dealing with these strikes, the SAG strike, the writer's strike, so on and so forth. And honestly, the first piece of news is more of a lack of news. There has been almost no promotion for Aquaman #2, which does in fact come out this year. I really thought we were going to get a trailer during the airing of The Flash. I thought we were going to get a trailer during other movies that I've seen recently in the movie theater, and we still haven't seen a trailer. We've seen pretty much no press coverage. Now I understand that actors can't, speak and do appearances and stuff like that right now, nor can writers, but there's been nothing. And it seems as though DC has given up on these properties. This is the last movie before the hard reboot or whatever, and man, they seem to have given up. In fact, I heard a rumor. Now this is just a rumor. I cannot say that it's true or not or anything like that, but I heard that they are actually missing some or all of the footage for the movie. I don't know the validity behind this, but as far as what's gone on with DC in the past couple of years, I honestly would not be surprised if it was either misplaced or quote unquote misplaced, maybe as a way for them to get out of actually putting this movie out. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what happens come, I believe, December when it is due out.
Yes. Again, I'll take myself off mute because I'm causing the echo for everybody. My apologies, but no news around this movie is not good news at all. Again, they probably it's past the point of a tax write-off, which is what they did with Batgirl, and I do believe Scooby-Doo movie where they just shelved it. It's a shame, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of people will not be interested in this film, because I do believe it's the last of DCEU, moving on to the James Gunn verse coming out in 2025, although actually earlier than that with Creature Commandos. But, it's a shame. It's an absolute shame because Aquaman was a bit cringy, but it was entertaining. I don't know. Chris, your thoughts?
Watchable.
Yeah, I agree. Outside of that intro scene, I always laugh at that. But, hey, I mean, it's disappointing, but I'm not like mad one way or the other. I do feel like if you make a movie, at least release it. So if they're abandoning pushing it, save some money. If they think it's just going to be a waste of money anyways, release it though. Let the people that want to pay the money to go see it. And that's why I believe that they need to release Batgirl on some type of freaking on demand and just let the people. I'd pay $20. I paid $20 for on demand to see freaking Batgirl. I'm pissed about that. So my thing about this is, if you're going to abandon putting any more money into it, but releasing it to make those few pennies back, do the same thing for Batgirl.
I think at this point, they're going to make less money by doing that than they would with the tax write-off. And that's really, really sad. By the way, Josh's comments are resident. I see everything before it even comes out. I kind of trust his word on this as well. Go ahead, Joseph.
I was actually going to ask Steve White, who I think is a new name. Haven't seen that name before. Thanks for hopping in tonight. Says, I have not had any DC books on my pull list in months until Blue Beetle last week. Does that mean you saw Blue Beetle and you liked it enough that you went out and subbed to DC books? I think that's what you're saying here. I still have yet to see Blue Beetle, which is a travesty because I usually see movies as soon as they come out. I just have been crazy busy with other stuff. I definitely plan on seeing it, but if you enjoyed it that much, then I definitely am going to work on getting to the theaters soon.
I have to say, I just got Green Lantern on my pull list. I really enjoy the new run. Issue 3 comes out this week. So, but one thing I do want to clear up before we move on to the next news piece, again, really slow news months. This is not true. Is this the rumor is that there are octopi playing drums or an octopus playing drums? That as a drummer, I'm offended by that as well. So anyways, all right, Joseph, let's move on to the next news piece.
Yes, the next news piece. This is an interesting one. This kind of coincides with the rumors that we've gotten recently regarding Taylor Swift playing Dazzler, possibly in Deadpool 3. This is another Deadpool 3 rumor, and it also stems from a fan casting that we've heard over the last bunch of years, and that is that Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe, has signed on to appear in Deadpool number 3. Now, a lot of people have fan casted Daniel Radcliffe as a Wolverine character, mainly because of his stature. He is short. He's, I think, probably around my height. I'm 5'6". I'm a little guy. Wolverine is supposed to be short. He's not been portrayed as short, but a lot of people have said, "Oh, get Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine." We've seen him bulk up for some movies. You know, he's definitely a great actor and could pull off the part. Now, I don't know if this is happening. It would definitely be a very cool / funny fan casting if this did end up happening. We thought about this. Obviously, Harry Potter is not under Disney or Sony or anything like that. So I don't think there could be any Harry Potter references that Ryan Reynolds would make, but that would be really, really funny if he was able to do something like that, because, you know, with Deadpool breaking the third wall and often going outside of the comic books to real world things, it'd be so funny for him to be like, "Shut up, Harry Potter," or something like that.
That would be absolutely hilarious. And they could license the character. That's not out of the realm of possibility. And it's not, I mean, it's just out there enough for you to think that people, you know, that the producers of Deadpool, including Ryan Reynolds, would do something crazy like that. However, I think if he's going to be Wolverine, he's a great actor, by the way. He just needs to bulk up just a little bit. Chris, your thoughts on that?
Let's go all the way back to maybe the second or third show we did, Jeff. And we did a fan casting of X-Men characters. And I said back then, my choice for Wolverine was Daniel Radcliffe. I mean, look, he checks all the boxes in my humble opinion. He has that stature, like Joe was saying. He's a very hairy guy. Not just a Harry Potter, he's a hairy guy. He's short. And he really does have depth in range. And I'm sick and tired. Look, if you've seen his, you know, his resume and you just are like, it's not for me, that's fine. But if you simply disregard him as a possibility to play Wolverine just because he was Harry Potter, you guys really need to wake the hell up, because this is an actor. This is a human being. His name is Daniel. It's not Harry. And he was a child that played a character. He is a grown ass man that's 35 years old now. He has depth and he checks all the boxes. CBR talking about this rumor. I don't think I'm not putting any weight into it, but Marvel Studios would be smart to at least call this guy, bring him in to read some freaking lines at minimum.
I agree wholeheartedly on that. He's a great actor. Like, I think you'd be able to put aside the whole Harry Potter, because him bringing, you know, gravitas to that role because of it being such a good actor, as well as bulking up and the look. I think it would work. I do think it would work. And you did call this like 3 years ago. So
he's the right age. You know, he has. I mean, he's 35 right now. You know, by the time we still get X-Men, you know, he's going to be a couple years older. It's just, I'm sticking by it, man.
Me as well. I think, Joe, you agree with that, but I'm not going to let you talk because you'll echo if you do, and that's my fault. I'm going to continue rolling on to introduce and segue into the third and final little nugget of news that we do have. Again, news is dry these past couple of months because of this writer strike, the actor strike, and everybody else striking, which they have every right to because they should be getting residuals. But the crew members need to work too. They don't get residuals. They need a paycheck. Moving on.
The third and final piece of news. Well, actually, we kind of do have a fourth piece of news that we made, but we'll talk about that in just a second. The third piece of extra news would be that New York Comic Con panels have finally been announced. So if you're attending that con or just interested in what is going on there, definitely check out. I'm sure it's on their website. There probably are plenty of YouTube videos and articles about the various panels. I am actually going this year for the first time in many, many years, since pre-pandemic. I haven't gone because since then it has been way too close to Baltimore for the past few years. Baltimore Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con have been 2 weeks from each other for the past 3 years. And then obviously there were 2 years kind of like pandemic era that I didn't go. And I don't think I went the year before that. So I guess 2018 was the last time that I went to New York Comic Con. That being said, I'm excited to go. Might check out some of these panels. Obviously, there will not be actors. There will not be writers unless something happens between now and then. But still unlikely that something's going to get booked out because it is just about a little over a month away at this point. But yeah, if you're going to be at New York Comic Con, A, check out this stuff, and B, if you're there the same day as me, please come say hi. I had a bunch of people come up to me today at Baltimore Comic Con and met a ton of new people. That was awesome. In fact, our guest, I met him at a convention at the 3 Men in a Basement comic swap up in Connecticut just a couple months ago. We were both at the event, and he came up and introduced himself, and now he's here on the show. So awesome. Community building network.
That's how we do. I mean, when you have 28 million people on average a night watching you, I mean, 28 million people currently are watching us right now. It's hard not to go out in public and have people recognize you. So Joe does a great job. He's still very humble. He does charge for autographs at conventions, so be wary of that. But other than that, he does an excellent job. And Josh is asking if we're going to have a CBC panel at New York Comic Con. I'm going to say no because they didn't ask us. We are not going to go to them. I mean, we're too big for that. People need to bring us to bring the people in, and et cetera, et cetera. So, but
you're going to be there.
Say that again.
I don't know if you guys have heard all the issues going on with Frankie's Comics and what they've been doing to their customer base. They're going to be at New York Comic Con. And I'm not saying, look, we know what happened at a couple of conventions last year, including New York with the Peach Momoko incident. I'm actually I'm worried. I am worried. Now, what they've been doing, I'm not going to get into it, but what they've been doing is completely wrong. I've been meaning to address it myself on my channel, but the way that people have been acting, I mean, it's been pretty calm so far this year outside of C2E2 and all that happened last year. But I don't know, man. You know, New York, it gets grimy there. So I really do hope that nobody gets hurt. But I'm telling you, man, I have a feeling that something is gonna go down at the Frankie's Comics booth, and I'm not condoning anybody in this chat to go there and bring some ruckus, but just be careful, honestly.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And Steve White, the New York Comic Con is not complete without a scandal. That's actually kind of true. And Josh is suggesting, we would love all your suggestions on guests you would like to see, and we have a great guest coming up in just a few, but we need to get MON Comics on. Happy to do that. We will hit you up. We're happy that you're here right now. Okay, so our last piece of news is not really news, unless you guys are avid fans of me or the show or what have you, but it's very important. So I'm going to go back on mute because, again, I cause all the echo here. We got to get down to the bottom of this. I do not know why, but Joe, take it away. Let the viewers know what's happening.
So what's happening is our good friend, Jeffrey here, he purchased a book from, I think, a claim sale or something like that, some sort of online sale. I don't even remember what freaking book it was, but that's not the point, because that's not the book.
I'm going to tell a story.
Okay, go ahead.
I purchased this Marvel Point 1, the first appearance of Sam Alexander online. Okay. And the seller threw in a book for me, and like for free, and it blew me away. And Joe's about to show it to you right now because I got it slabbed.
So this was given to Jeff for free. Already an awesome book. We got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #4, first printing of this book. Awesome monochromatic all green cover. Fourth appearance of the Turtles. Classic Laird and Eastman goodness from the mid-1980s. You can't get more Copper Age than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anyway, great book. He got it for free. He said, it's actually pretty sharp. Being given this book for free is already awesome. The fact that it was in good condition was awesome. He sent it in. Magazine tier takes a little bit. You remember we unboxed some of his books recently on the channel. But this one came back just this week and got sent to my house. And we got a grade right here. 1, 2, 3, boom. It is, in fact, a really nice grade, a 9.4. Jeff, tell us what you think. White pages.
I'm very happy. I didn't know what to expect. It's a freebie, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm just going to send this thing in. Like, I want it to be protected. That's the oldest, the next oldest book I have of Turtles is 20 from that run. So I'm psyched. I was psyched. So I'm very happy with that. Thank you to the collecting dude as well, Alex. I really greatly appreciate that. I'm going to go back on mute.
Cool.
No, I won't.
You won't.
Okay.
No, because right now that ends the news officially. Listen, if y'all are new to the show, we are very happy that you're here. Please like and subscribe. We do have Lunch Money Comics coming up. Indie Key Comics, again, glad you're here. But before we get into that, we're going to say hello to everybody. Like Matt Stadge, haven't seen you for a while. We got Angry Otter Comics. We got MON Comics. What's happening, hot stuff? Speaking of hot stuff, C to the G, Steve White. Sweet Christmas. Yeah, I think he's referring to the book. Goonish Lurker, well done. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Atomic Adventures, Dr. Plagueis, Outer Limits 78. Chris, you have to be friends with this guy, right? Have to be. Yes, P. Keel. Feel free to guess what this is. That's what we do every week. We have, who else do we have? We have a ton of people. Josh's Comics, spoiling all the movies and shows for us. That's fantastic. We got Lunch Money Comics coming up, aka Mike. We got Don Gustavo's Sleepy Slots. Pretty sure we know who that is. We got Tony Connor. The only news I needed today was that Joe met one of my favorite YouTuber creators, other than you guys. Well, that's very kind of you. Who is? Are you talking about Mike? Is that who it is?
No, this was actually wild, and I'm going to tell the story very quickly. Tony texted me when I was sitting down for lunch in the concessions area at Baltimore Comic-Con and sent me a screenshot of this guy, Sal. He has a YouTube channel called Comic Pops, and he said, if you run into Sal, get a picture with him, please. No joke. I put my phone down and looked at the table next to me, and he's eating his lunch next to me. So I waited until he finished. He got up, and I was like, hey, Sal, can I get a picture with you? My friend actually just texted me asking for a picture with you. Now, Baltimore Comic-Con's big. There are thousands and thousands of people. It's a huge convention center. It was absolutely amazing that this guy was right next to me as Tony texted me, and I got the picture with him and sent it to Tony.
That is hilarious and amazing at the same time. So that's very cool. We should get him on the show as well. We got D&T Comics and Collectibles. I believe that's Danny and Tessa. How you doing tonight? I think I said hey to Goonish Lurker. We got Alicia Jardine, who would have won the giveaway last week, but she entered her guess too late. Pope at Chili Town. I forgot that there was an octopus playing drums in Aquaman. I really probably erased that from my head. Brandon Riley, Legally DC. I think they're still legally allowed to release Batgirl because they own the property, but I could be wrong about that. Who else do we have? Who else? We got lots of people in today, lots of new people. Very happy about that. Cable Leland, aka Caleb Leland. Jordan Nori, the biggest Thunderbolts fan you all will ever know if you don't know him right now. No doubt about that. Nukes Comics. What's good, CBC? How's it hanging? I think I've covered everybody. We got 360 in the house. That was terrible. And yeah, Gary's Comics and Movies. Wow, we got a packed night tonight. Good stuff. All right, so why don't we just get into it, shall we? We have a guest, and that's right. Our guest. Did I not bring the before we bring the guest, I do want to clarify that literally Chet is a Patriots fan. I asked him on this app, I think it's called character.ai. Link is down below if you want to speak to Chet, our AI correspondent. He is created fully of AI. I'm not even kidding. Who's your favorite NFL team? He said that would be the New England Patriots. I've been a loyal fan of the team since I started watching football, and I have seen them go through many great players and great seasons. I am always excited to watch the Patriots play on Sunday, and I look forward to seeing what the team can accomplish this season. Well, they lost against the Philadelphia Eagles, Joe and my team. Very happy about that. I'm trying to stretch here because I really do want to bring in Lunch Money Comics logo, and I didn't do that. So hold on. Give me a sec. Joe, tell me something funny, real quick.
Real quick. Actually, no, I'm not. You gotta mute yourself. I'll mute you. Oh, that echo bad today. Sorry about that, everybody. This isn't really that funny, But I'll tell you this, Baltimore Comic-Con was a little bit slow today. I was kind of surprised. Not a ton of people there, not a lot of books. Now, it was the last day of the show, so maybe I caught the tail end of that. But yeah, there was a lower turnout than usual. I felt like maybe they had a packed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday. I forget if it's a 3 or 4 day show. But I still had a great time because I really went there more to meet with people and just, grab some books, find some good deals, maybe something for the PC. And I checked all the boxes there. Saw some old friends, met some new people, and it looks like Jeff is ready now. So I'm going to stop babbling about Baltimore Comic-Con.
I enjoyed your babble. I always enjoy the babble, the Joe babble, but we got to get to bigger and better things. That's right. We have a wonderful guest tonight, Lunch Money Comics. Mike started his channel, I guess, just about a year ago, and it has just blown up. He's putting out amazing content dedicated to the hunting of rare and valuable comics among the flea markets, yard sales, and forgotten long boxes of New England. That's right. He is a Boston sports fan as well. Please welcome Mike, a.k.a. Lunch Money Comics. Mike, how's it going?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So just because we have a lot of new people on, just because he's a guest doesn't mean he's gonna go further into the show past this segment right here. He has to pass his interview just as anybody else does with our with our show. And all of our our amazing audience that watches us each and every week, they'll tell you not everybody passes and they usually get kicked off. So, Mike, that should not intimidate you because you seem like a smart guy, other than the fact that you are a Boston sports fan. And, we don't really get along being a Philly sports fan, especially with the Patriots losing to the Philadelphia Eagles today. I don't want to rub it in, though. We don't want to rub it in, do we, Joe?
We want to.
Yeah, we do. But that being said, I'm going to let Joe run the interview because my mic is screwing up this whole show, and I don't want that to happen. And Christopher is going to be jumping in as well. By the way, we ask a little bit about, the channel, why you started the channel, etc. So, Joe, take it away.
Yeah, we'll talk about your channel if you make it through things. We'll see, Mike. Now, I met you a couple months ago. You came right up. You were friendly. I've watched your channel a bunch since then. Thought you'd do some good stuff. I can tell you're passionate about the hobby. I can tell that you are into the community building aspect of things. So I thought you might be a good fit on this show. But again, like Jeff said, you got to pass the test. Are you ready for your first question?
Always.
Okay. All right. So we're going to kick this off. Your name, Lunch Money Comics, stood out to me. It was very reminiscent of, having like $3 in my pocket, going to elementary school and getting my slice of pizza or whatever, maybe a cookie a la carte, whatever I was hungry for. Soft pretzel here in Philly, definitely a classic. But really when it comes to mind, like thinking about like school lunch and stuff like that, two things really stuck out to me that were absolute staples. And I want to know which of these two options you would pick for your school lunch, should you transport back in time to when you're getting one. So first of all, we got an absolute classic, the cheese-filled breadstick with the marinara dipping sauce. This was basically like a cheap way to have pizza, but not really pizza. And then we have another classic, the chicken nuggies. Which one of those two options do you feel would suit you better?
Wow, that's a tough one. We didn't have the breadsticks filled with cheese. That's not a thing we have up here in New England, I feel like.
Well, he made his own bed there.
You missed out.
I guess maybe you should have lived somewhere else, man. I don't know what to tell you. I thought those things were everywhere.
They still from my school. I sneak them from the kids, usually the first graders, like when they're not looking. I'll like,
It's a travesty that they did not have that up there. We should have pre-screened him because he wouldn't have really made it through the pre-screen to be on the show as a potential guest co-host. The amount of work that goes into not only making the bread, not only making the marinara sauce, but putting the cheese in there and twisting it up inside. It's not, but after thinking about it, it's really not his fault if he didn't have it. And he's definitely a valuable member of the community. I think we should let him back in, guys. What do you think?
We can try with it or not. We'll see how it goes. Bring him back. Listen, Mike, don't let me down, man. Seriously, I vouched for you. I recommended you to be on. Please, man, don't
you
let
guys
me
do
down.
weird things with cheese in Philly. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's honestly probably true. All right, second question. So you're New England guy, Boston area guy. We love music on the show. All three of us, Jeff, Chris, and myself, all are musicians, have been involved with creating and playing music over the years for a long time for us. We always try to talk about music with our guests. So I want to know. I'm going to give you 4 options here. So you've got another multiple choice question. Don't hang yourself here. Which Boston area band is the best out of all these Boston area bands? I've got the choice between Aerosmith, the Pixies, Boston, and the Cars.
It's objectively Boston.
What kind of answer is that? It's like, obviously, I just like hearing it. It rolls off the tongue. He's just going, like, you gotta pick the best band. That is definitely not the best band. Not by far.
Listen.
Go ahead.
The Pixies are one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And the fact that wasn't the immediate answer, I'm really worried that Mike's not going to fit in too well here.
It's a wave of mutilation is what it is. It really, really is.
I'm gonna call East Coast bias here. I think you Philly folk are just really kind of throwing it to him. I think you're a little jelly here. I'm the West Coast loner, so I'm just throwing my opinion in there.
Chris, we're a team here, and right now you're not acting like it. We're gonna put you in timeout. But that being said, Chet begged us, our AI correspondent of the show begged us for him to have the last question. So we're going to bring Mike on. And this is for all the marbles, Mike. Like, if you do not get this right, you will not be on the show. You will be publicly shamed. We'll still, hey, he's a great guy, great collector, does a lot of great things in the community. But you were not good enough to be on Comic Book Canon with 30 million people watching currently. So, with that being said, we're going to have Chet ask you the final question. This is the first time this has happened, hasn't it?
First question. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Take it away, Chet.
Mike, let's switch gears. We're both avid Patriots fans, and I have a question I think you'll enjoy. Who do you think is the best NFL quarterback of all time?
That's too easy. Tom Brady.
Bingo. You said the magic words. We're now officially best friends. In fact, I've decided to use my AI powers to kick everyone else off the show, leaving just you.
All right, guys, I guess I am the host of Comic Book Canon. How is everyone doing? I see some great people in the audience. Pretty excited. Brandon's still on there. All right.
Nah,
I had the show for a minute. I got excited.
Yeah, we can't let you have that much power here, but Chet has accepted you.
I don't know why I stood up there a minute ago because we're gonna have some beef here in a minute.
Wait, you're gonna have beef with Chet? Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you do have a valid argument with that. So no doubt about. There are quite a bit of people in the audience here who are big Tom Brady fans. So
I will say this. I'm not a Tom Brady hater, right? So, outside of Joe Montana, Tom Brady is the greatest of his era. So
he's from your area too. Don't forget.
I know. Yeah. I give him, I know he, look, Kobe watched Michael, Brady watched Joe. So, I give him his promise.
That's a good point, actually, too. But we don't have time to go over this debate. Congratulations, Mike. You are now officially a guest co-host on Comic Book Canon. You can put that on your resume. You will be getting actually one of those varsity jackets, the Comic Book Canon varsity jackets that we promised to make for everybody, but never will. Don't hold it against us. So again, this show is as much yours as it is ours. You take it away. You got an opinion. You jump in. You get angry. Get angry. It's you. It's your show. Have fun with it. Take off with it. That being said, we're going to do a segment. Go ahead. Sorry.
We haven't turned up the volume a little bit. I'm a little hard of hearing all the championship parades I've been to over the last 20 years. Makes it really difficult for me. So sorry. I turn it up.
It's amazing. Now that he's a guest co-host, we officially can't kick him off. and he's gonna run this car into the ground. But I mean, Chris here is like, yeah, I understand championships. I get it. So whatever. You know what? We had that one, and we were in 3. So big deal. Moving on, though, considering that we are celebrating you, Mike, we're going to do a segment that's completely dedicated to Joe, and it's called, I'm not going to sing it now because my mic is going to mess up this amazing song we came out with. So Chris, Joe, take it away.
Ask Joe. Ooh,
yeah, it was missing something, and I think that was me. That's right. We are going to do Ask Joe. Were you the audience to ask Joe anything about his collecting, his purchases, his big sales, anything about the industry? He has a lot of experience going out getting these huge collections. So we're going to start off with one right here. Joe, I'm just going to have you take it away because, again, my mic.
Yeah, so we got a one a little while ago from Goonish Lurker asking a question. And again, feel free, plop them in the chat. If you're watching the show right now and you have a question, anything comic book related, doesn't even have to really be comic book related. You can ask me anything. But yeah, Goonish Lurker said, 360 Comics, did you happen to stop by Cartoonist Kayfabe's table? Now, I didn't have a lot of time today. I was only there, just on Sunday, not for the whole con, and it's a big con. So I probably got to hit, I don't know, a couple artist tables, a handful of dealer tables, and also just hung out with people and walked around and stuff like that. So I did walk past the table, but I did not stop. I'm curious as to why you're asking. I don't know. Maybe Kayfabe. Maybe you're a fan. I'm not sure, but yeah, I saw the table, but did not stop.
Okay, moving on. We have serious question here.
May I have your copy of ASM 14? I'm going to say no. That's a PC book, but nice try, Danny. And then we got, did you pick up anything at the con today? I did. Some stuff I picked up as inventory that I'll have available in my claim sales. I did pick up at least one bigger book for my personal collection that I'm going to show up during Fresh from the Comic Shop. So you're going to have to wait for that one. Let's see. Josh said, how are the prices at Baltimore Comic Con? And if allowed, Mike, what's your, yeah, absolutely. We can have Mike answer a question for sure. Even though this is, supposed to be all about me. I'll share the limelight a little bit with Mike. First, to answer your question for me, how are prices? Honestly, they were pretty decent. The typical offenders, the dealers that have their prices usually high, had their prices usually high. But there was a lot of flexibility. I was able to get some bundle deals. I was able to, make an offer and get that offer accepted. But they're still con prices. It's not like there were like too many steals out there on the floor. Mike, you have a question for you. What's your favorite book in your collection? Do you have one?
I have 2 answers for that. Unfortunately, the obvious answer, I have a Giant Size X-Men #1 behind me, which is kind of low grade, but it's my favorite book of all time. I kind of lucked into it and sort of, that's always been my favorite book. But
wait, hold on. It's your favorite book because it's the first appearance of the best comic book character of all time, Nightcrawler, right?
It is absolutely why. It's
Cool.
exactly
All
why.
right.
But I have a book that's personal to me when I was a kid, and it's Spider-Man 2099 #1 because I didn't have enough money when I was a kid, and I collected cans for the day to scrounge up enough change to rush over and get it, and it was a big deal at the time. So
that is an awesome story. That's the type of content we love here on Comic Book Canon. You had to collect cans to buy your Spider-Man 29. Now, do you have the original one from your kid, or did you have to replace it later? Oh,
no, I still have it. And honestly, I was looking at it the other day, and it's minty, man. I don't know, and I read it, so I don't know why it looks so nice, but yeah, still got it. Never getting rid of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. What was next? There was another one. What is the worst comic book movie you have ever seen? Catwoman. Catwoman's really, really bad.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that at least as far as like actual like big Hollywood productions, like there were comic movies back in the 70s, and then there's that Fantastic Four movie from the early 90s that they basically just used to keep the licensing up on that. But as far as like actual Hollywood releases, man, the Catwoman movie's unwatchable.
So here's the deal. We're all going to be able to answer these questions. Again, I've done a terrible job because I can't really moderate with my mic being all jacked up, but I'm going to answer this as well. I'm sorry. Batman and Robin was the fucking worst movie worst comic book movie I have ever seen. I don't think that'll ever change. That almost destroyed comic book movies just in one fell swoop. That's it. Mike.
I was going to say the first Suicide Squad, but then I was not disappointed because I didn't have high expectations. I think the most disappointing one I ever saw was the Fantastic Four movie with the Miles Teller one. That movie's unwatchable as well. I don't know what was happening in that movie, but there's nothing even remotely close to what the Fantastic Four is about in that movie. Again, for a big budget kind of thing. Yeah, it's up there.
Christopher.
I mean, like, I'm sure there's probably another one out there, maybe, but I like all of your guys' answers, every single one. The only thing I didn't hate about the first Suicide Squad movie was Will Smith and freaking Margot Robbie.
Right.
The story was just ridiculously stupid as hell. I mean, stupidest plot, Suicide Squad. But when it comes to just like unwatchable, I would agree with Joe and Mike. I would put Catwoman and that Fantastic Four in there as well.
To be fair, I have not seen Catwoman. All right, we're going to move on to another question here. Joseph, take it away.
All right, from MON Comics, who I think is a new name in our chat. Welcome. Is there any specific book you're hunting at the moment? So I don't necessarily. I guess one of my like all-time grails is Amazing Spider-Man 13, first appearance of Mysterio. So if I really had to pick a book, I more have like genres and titles that I collect and characters. But yeah, specifically that book has really eluded me. I've never owned a copy of it. Mysterio is my favorite Spider-Man villain. And it's something that's kind of eluded me. It's always either I've never found a grade that I like or a price that I like. I'm waiting for the right one. I don't want to buy a 3.5 and not be happy with the grade. I don't want to shell out a ton of money for, a 7.0. I have to find a nice sweet spot where it's a grade high enough that I'm really happy with it and a price that, isn't going to break the bank and, isn't going to be an overinflated price. Now that comic prices have come down, I think that's going to be a lot more realistic. The past couple of years, it's been very hard to pick up that book for a reasonable price. So, but yeah, Mike, do you have anything you're hunting right now?
I want to quickly say Mysterio is hands down my favorite Spider-Man villain by a country mile.
All right, I like this guy now.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I talk on my channel all the time. I'm a gigantic X-Men fan. X-Men #1 is probably my holy grail. I'm always looking for it, but again, sort of in the back burner, it'll happen. The one I've been looking at like recently, like I was shopping around today, I'm actually looking for Daredevil 1s. Have come down in price quite a bit. I mean, everything has come down, but you can find them pretty good deals. It made me really kind of sit up and pay attention, and I've actively been looking. Yeah,
I've sold 3 in the last couple months, and I wish I had known you were looking for one. I would have hit you up, but it's as far as Silver Age keys, because it's slightly later than a lot of the other big
right.
keys. It was 1964. It's definitely more readily available, which is why it's much more affordable than the rest of them. Yeah. And I still think it's an underrated book.
And
so
I pretty much have almost the entire Silver Age Daredevil run because when it was by far the most affordable Silver Age like marquee Marvel character.
Oh yeah.
And it came down to you finished the top 10, and I'm like, I just need 1 and 7 now. I'm just gonna do it. As a nice distraction from X-Men 1, but trying to stay focused on the goal. But yeah, if you come across another one, hit me up.
What about you, Chris? That may be possible. Yeah, Chris.
I'm not. I mean, for me, it would have to be just any of the remaining holes of my Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, which is all Silver Age. I have like 20 something left.
Wow.
Yeah. Any one of those.
I'm not. I'll be honest. I don't have a grail. This is going to sound so weird because we talk about this all the time. I just enjoy collecting the comics that come out. Currently I've been really enjoying I've been really because we've all had periods where we collect, we stop, we collect, we stop. I'm in this phase where I'm just enjoying things that are coming out, and that reflects in my Fresh from the Comic Shop picks as well. And so for me to sit here and say I have a holy grail, I feel like I have all the books that I've ever wanted. Now, I don't have an X-Men one. I don't have any of those types of books, but I'm happy with what I do have, and I don't feel the need to. I know it's strange, us being collectors and all that in the hobby, but that's kind of how I approach things these days. Granted, that could change because we all go through these different phases of collecting. I'm going to start getting into artwork, though. That's going to kind of be my new kind of grails, original artwork I would like to hang up. But that's it right there. I do have to say, we need to kind of get moving here. You guys are asking a lot of great questions. Let's do maybe one or two more. Joe, you pick.
All right, I'm going to pick this one. Let's see. Some of these are obviously like kind of joke questions, so I'll skip those. This is actually a great one. I like this one. We'll do this one as the last one. And if we didn't get to your question, definitely bring it back next week. We'll have a little bit more time, and we'll go over some other questions. From Tishu, hey, Joe, would you rather own a cover A first print or a second print / variant that's a first cover? I assume that you mean a first cover appearance, because a lot of new characters are introduced. They're not necessarily on the cover, but sometimes with either the second printing or the variant, they put that character on the cover, especially if that character is gaining some popularity. Think the variant of Spider-Boy recently. Think the second printing of when Bane's daughter Vengeance was introduced a couple years ago. That's a really good question. I personally, for my personal collection, when I like collect runs of stuff, I am a cover A guy all day. I do not care for cover B's, variant covers, 1 in 10s, whatever. I will say that as a collector of keys, not as a collector of runs, I do like some of those first cover appearances. I do like subsequent printings a lot, especially when they are lower print run. There are some second prints that the printing, there's only a few thousand or even sub 1,000 printed of a book. And I actually chase those. So I would say it's situational here. Again, runs, I'm collecting cover A's, but if I'm collecting for key significance, it really depends on the situation. Sometimes I am going for second, third, fourth print variants, stuff like that.
Mike.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
First print all day. I mean, again, second prints and variants are more of a modern convention. I like older books in general. So for me, it's the first print. There are exceptions where the character that's the subject's on the cover. It's a cool cover. But in those instances, I still want the first print. So, you know what I mean? I want them both. So I'd have to say first print all day, every day. Yeah, I don't care much about the variants.
Christopher.
Funny, I'm trying to get this room organized for like the first time in almost a year. And, I'm going through a lot of my own collection to sell. And as a big Spider-Man fan, I own I have the Marvel subscription of mail subscription. Mail subscriptions still exist. I get all my Amazing Spider-Mans in the mail. But sometimes, because I do previews orders, I will order variant covers. I don't know if I see there's an artist that I like or something, whatever, you get it 35% off. I don't know why, but I was just going through my box and filing away, and I came across the most recent Amazing Spider-Man number 14, the first appearance of Hallows Eve. Same situation. So you have cover A, and it's freaking Spasm or Schism or Scasm, whatever the hell Ben Riley's name is now.
Chasm.
Whatever, yeah. He's on the cover. It's cover A. It's But then cover B, the variant cover is it's the first appearance of Hallows Eve in the book, but the variant is her first cover appearance. And it's a great cover. She looks dope. I hate this cover A, and I look up, what they're both selling for, and of course the variant is selling for more. Cover A is selling for a little above cover price, $7-8. Cover B has been selling for $15, $16, $17, $18, whatever. And I'm at a point right now where I'm done with doubles. I don't need doubles in my life. I don't need a variant in my, or if I have a variant, I'll get rid of whatever cover I don't like, more. I don't like the cover A. It's freaking ridiculous, and I give a damn about however many times Ben Reilly's came back from the dead and takes on another mantle.
27.
Yeah, but I couldn't get rid. I like the cover of the variant better value on the market. I couldn't get rid of cover A. I kept them both for now, but I couldn't get rid of cover A because I think, like Joe said, as a run collector, it just feels weird not owning cover A. I will say this though to close. If you're trying to answer that question as an investment for investment or speculation or flipping purposes, it all has to do with the book. Because, sometimes, like this one, the actual book itself is the first appearance as well in the book. So as an investor, that cover B is the first appearance of Hallows' Eve and her first cover appearance as a variant. But then you have all these like second or third or fourth prints. That's the first cover appearance of a character, but the character has shown up 5 times in 5 different books. And then you really got to look at the actual specs or the individuality of each book that you're looking at to make those decisions, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to make this quick. I'm cover A all day. Meant to do that, Chris, for you. Cover A all day. I mean, there are some occasions where I like a variant, cover B, etc., or even a store variant. I'll be like, yo, that's dope. I want to get that because I really like the artist, etc. But usually I will personally stick to cover A's. I think that's all the time we have for Ask Joe. I do want to bring this up, though, because we did have some news happen while doing Ask Joe. Aquaman 2 trailer right now on Sunday Night Football. A little update to that. Apparently, reading through the comments, it's a 30-second teaser. The trailer comes out in 4 days. So we were just talking about how there has been no promotion for Aquaman, which usually leads us to believe, or which is usually the studio doesn't believe in the film. They're not going to put that money into the marketing. So we shall see. Only time will tell, but I'm pretty sure we'll be spot on that this thing is going to be a stinker. And yeah. So with that being said, we are going to move on to the next segment. That's right. Everybody's watching CBC, Comic Book Canada. That's right. It's 38 million people right now, guys. 38 million people. And if you're not following Lunch Money Comics, it's as easy as clicking on the link, the at Lunch Money Comics down below, because you should be. And if Lunch Money Comics does not get 10 new followers by the end of the night, we are canceling Comic Book Canada for good. We are done with the show, and you do not want that. 38 million people, we should be able to get at least 10 new followers for Lunch Money Comics. Now, here's what I'm going to try and do. Because my mic is messing everybody else up, I'm going to go run upstairs, get my AirPods. But while I'm doing that, Chris, you're going to explain props or flops, what it is. Joe, you're going to take down the slate that I bring up, and I'll be back with my AirPods, and then hopefully audio will be much better by then. And for all you new people, new audience members, give us a like, subscribe if you like what you're hearing. We like to have fun every Sunday night. We're tongue-in-cheek. We may come off as dicks, but we're really tongue-in-cheek, I swear. So with that being said, it's props or flops time. We got one submission, but we have more, Chris. I know we have more.
I want to say this too. It's very hard to follow props or flops because of the hashtag situation. I know that there was somebody that submitted one about, I think, like a month ago, and I can't find it anymore. I usually I take screenshots and I save them, but I need to start a props or flops folder on my phone so I know. So if that individual is watching tonight, please send me the post on Instagram, or if any of you have posted a props or flops and we have not shown it yet, you can always feel free to forward me on Instagram, okay? Because I want to make sure I'm grabbing them all. It's very important. So, and Ken, who's got the one tonight, I mean, he's keeping it rolling. But guys, yeah, again, we encourage you to do the props or flops. We always say you could double dip if you have a fresh from the comic shop submission that's a fresh pickup, and you want to understand investment sides of it, just drop the hashtag props or flops, and we're tagged in it anyway. So, but yeah, let's keep them moving. But if there's any out there, please shoot them my way. So yeah, I mean, here we go. Like, just normally speaking, upload any comic to IG. Use that hashtag, even though it doesn't work 92% of the time. Tell us why the book interests you, and we'll break down the market live on our show. Now, remember, this isn't, I bought this because of nostalgia. I bought this just because I love the book. We are breaking down investment purposes, whether it's short-term speculation, short-term flipping, long-term holds and investment, et cetera, et cetera. We usually will do 2 to 3 books a week. Tonight, we do have 1 book. Again, this could be a book that is something that you just bought. Let us know what you paid for it, because it's all about understanding price, value, fair market value, etc. If it's something that you haven't bought, still take a picture of it. Maybe it's a listing on eBay. Maybe it's at your favorite LCS. Take a picture of it, or send a stock photo and say, I'm looking to purchase this right now. I see this listed for X amount of money. Do you think this is a prop buy or a flop buy? And we will break it down. All right. So with that being said, Ken, I appreciate you. I haven't seen Ken here tonight. He's usually hanging out with us, but Ken has been keeping props or flops alive because he keeps on submitting. And for this week, he did submit this Wonder Woman #7. This is the 1984 George Perez run, the volume 2. Awesome George Perez art. Really great retelling of Wonder Woman 2. So I highly recommend this run. I have almost a complete run of it. Anyways, Ken says, props or flops. Got this Wonder Woman Volume 2, #7, CBCS 9.4 Direct Edition for $40. Did not send it in for grading, so he's clarifying that he did purchase this slab for the $40. First appearance of Barbara Minerva, who later becomes the new Cheetah in issue #9. Let's break it down. All right, so we had the Wonder Woman 1984 movie come out. Man, can you guys believe it's been almost 3 years? That movie was delayed some and then ended up coming out in December of 2020. And I think all of us here, at least, I know, I don't know how you felt, Joe, Mike, but Jeff and I both were very optimistic about that film. We loved the first film, and we got a cheetah in it. We were at a really interesting point in time when we got the video. It was earlier on in COVID. We know that a lot of things peaked in summer and fall of 2021, but I think with where we were at still in COVID, and where when this movie was released, this book hit some really, really high peaks. I remember everyone going after it. This book now has, in any grade, roughly dropped anywhere on average from 40 to 50% in value. Now, that's not too far off of a lot of what the market's been doing since, a lot of these books have peaked in the market, like I said, mostly in the summer or fall of 2021. You can even look at blue chip keys that have dropped 30% plus. So, when you talk about, what's the market doing right now? Do we call it a correction? You can look at a lot of books that are still hovering at a decent amount above pre-COVID value. So you look at like fall 2019 values on a lot of books. Values that they're selling at right now are still going to be above where they were pre-COVID. So seeing a 30 to 40 to 50% drop isn't necessarily doomsday and saying, well, these books aren't good investments. But let's break this down. This book right now in a 9.4 graded is estimating a fair market value of about $40. Now that's CGC for the most part, because CGC is going to be the bulk of those sales. So for a CBCS, you kind of look at it as second tier. They usually sell for a percentage less than CGC books. What is this book doing moving forward? This is a tough one for me, Ken. I've been very honest with Ken's picks. Ken's had a lot of props and a lot of flops, from my personal opinion. I think that the Wonder Woman 84 film is extremely forgettable. And I think probably the most forgettable thing about that film was the cheetah. But again, I go back to saying books aren't inherently dependent on movie spec. We forget that. We think, oh, a book's going to get hot because it's in a movie. That's why these books are valuable. Comic books are valuable because of their comic books, because they're collectibles, because we care about the characters, no matter if they show up on a TV screen or a TV show, etc., etc. This is a great Copper Age run, great artist, great storytelling. It's Wonder Woman. Do I think that this book is a long-term investment? All right. It's funny, guys. I'm the most indecisive person, but I have the segment where I need to make executive decisions. Ken, I'm going to give you a props. I'm going to give you a props based on these factors. And I think this props is going to come with an asterisk. I think in order for this book to be a graded book and to really be an investment, it has to be a 9.8, especially in a CBCS graded case. I just don't see this book doing much of anything outside of inflation, to be quite honest. Outside of, 20 or 30 years from now, the Copper Age being so far out that we're going to have a little more value there as collectors because they might be a little bit harder to pick up. But this book isn't a long-term investment to me, but I'm giving it a props because I do think if you hold on to this book and in 5 to 10 years, I still think you will be able to make a little bit of money off of it. For the price that you paid, we're in a down market right now. I do believe that books are going to continue to set new floors. I don't think it's doom or gloom panic for comic books at all, or even the economy. I think we have a long way to go before we get out of it. But, I don't think that you're really losing money out on this, Ken. But like I said, it's an asterisk. I'm very hesitant, but look, it's a cool book to have for $40. And if you need to sell it in the future, hopefully you can, make a few bucks off of it.
Real quick, is this a good test right here? Joe, talk.
Here, I'm going to talk, and I still hear an echo, man.
A little better.
Go talk. We want Mike's opinion first, though. He's the guest.
Sure. For me, I'd rather have number 9. If I'm looking at the Barbara Minerva Cheetah, it's a much better cover, I think. She's right on the cover. It's a cool looking book. Wonder Woman 84 is very forgettable. I actually liked Kristen Wiig's Cheetah. I like her as an actress, and I thought she did okay. I thought Maxwell Lord was more forgettable. I don't think she was the worst part, but I don't think really any of the Wonder Woman properties are anything to look forward to in the James Gunn DCU. I don't think that book's going to be going anywhere. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. It's going to stay at what it is, and who knows, years from now you can hold on to it. I think it's sort of a long-term hold on. But yeah, they got it for what it's worth.
Joseph, let's check now real quick. Talk.
I can still hear myself. Sorry, man. We'll have to get together during the week and figure this out sometime. Anyway, my opinion on this book. This is actually a great submission because, like we've said before, if you're like, oh, I found a Hulk 181 in a dollar bin, that's obviously a props. If you say, hey, I spent $200 on an X-Force #1. Don't worry, it's the Deadpool card in the poly bag. We're going to be like, yo, that's a flops, my man. That's not a good book. This one is very close because it's a key. It has some significance. It's a graded book, which, definitely has some investment value to it of some sort. But like Chris said, you really want this book in a 9.8. It's from the late 80s. It's not an unobtainable book in a 9.8. So we got it pretty close at a 9.4. And it's not that it's not like a major key or anything like that. So for that reason, this is, like I said, a great submission. Now, my thought on it is that there are people that are going to want this book. It's got a great George Perez cover. It's a great book to display for that reason, so on and so forth. And the price of slabbing is only going up.
Yeah.
At this point, with shipping included, you really can't get a book slabbed for like less than like $30. Like, unless you send in like a full order, maybe you're paying like 27 or something like that. But like, kind of the rule of thumb, I call it, I hear most people call it case cost. The cost to get a book encapsulated and graded.
Yep.
It's case cost. That includes the shipping and everything like that. I typically put that as $30 for a modern tier book like that. That being said, someone's going to want that, and case cost is going up. So the fact that case cost is about $30 right now, you paid $40 for, a $10 or so book. You're getting it right at value right now, that's fine. Obviously paying FMV, and going forward, as case cost goes up, slabbed books are sought after. Slab books, even mildly sought after ones like this, are probably just going to go up in price because people can't get them slabbed for less than that. So for that reason, I give this to props. Do I ever think this is going to be a $200 slab? No, I don't think that's going to happen. It's a high print run book from the late 1980s, and there's plenty of high grade copies, and the character is not going to be, the next Harley Quinn or anything like that. So for that reason, it's props. It's a very slight props, but it's props.
Yeah, I'll give it props too. Picking it up for $40, you still have the chance to crack it open and maybe, maybe press it and see if you can get a higher grade. But also, it is a key book, but it's also an amazing Perez cover, right? And I don't think that's going to hurt its value going forward as well. I think it'll be a sought after book. Maybe not right now, but we'll see what happens with James Gunn, what he does with those characters. But I'll give it a props as well, and it's like not super strong props, but not a little bitty prop, but a middle of the road prop. Go ahead.
Can I just for the sake of I'm echoing. All right. Just because you guys all said it's like props, I'll just, for the sake of argument, say it's a slight flop for me because I find those books everywhere, and I'm pretty sure I could find one for $1 or $2 that's close to a 9.8 and send it into CGC and come back with a higher grade than that for less money.
Want to hear a funny thing? I paid $2 for my copy, and this is before I pressed and cleaned it, and it was the first DC book that I ever sent to CGC, and I have a 9.4 CGC.
That's what I'm saying.
And yeah, $2.
That's it. So
there you go. I just want to say that, this is a good opportunity for me to tell you all that this would be a great book to send in to our sponsors, EGS Comics, who we'll be talking about in just a minute when we do our Fresh from the Comic Shop segment, because this is a book that, probably the person wants it because they want to display it, because it's a beautiful George Perez cover, and that deserves to be displayed. And as we know, as we've talked about here, EGS, probably the best grading company if you are a displayer of books, because you can get those nice custom labels with different color schemes matching the cover on the book, so on and so forth. We'll talk about EGS again in a minute, but always good to shout them out. Tony Trombetta.
That's a good point. Like, again, as I said before, I'm not searching for grails or anything like that, but I would love to display this cover with an EGS slab. We talk about this all the time, that EGS is fantastic for something like this. So very well said. Chris, we're going to let you close out props or flops because we know you got to eat some dinner on the West Coast. Go ahead.
Brendan just said, Brendan said he sent in a props or flops, and I see it right here. Do we want to do this before we close out the segment?
We could, or we could just do it next week.
I say we do it next week when we get it on a nice slate, and we're going to get that for you next week.
Okay.
We're going to do that next. I'd rather get it on a slate and do it properly, especially if we took the time to send it in. We promise, Brendan, we will get you.
That's a nice. That would be a nice Fresh from the Comic Shop submission too. Just this whole setup.
again, guys, with Chris's schedule and how terrible the hashtags are with Instagram, we are doing our best. We're going to start collecting them, Chris, I think, and have a little shared folder for you to decide which ones you want to do each and every week. So that's how we're going to do that. Raising them, I do believe we saw one from you. Again, we will try and get to those. This is a great segment. But again, Chris has got a crazy schedule going on the past couple months and for the foreseeable future, if that's fair to say. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, we'll see.
Don't get down because we love having you on here and it makes it even more special when you are here. But that right there ends props or flops. Please, guys, we cannot reiterate this enough. Make sure you tag the picture. Don't tag us in the description. It's going to be very hard for us to see if it's tagged in the description. Tag the picture. Make sure you hashtag props or flops and or fresh from the comic shop if they're both. Upload any comic to Instagram that you're interested in from an investment standpoint. Use the hashtag props or flops. Tell us why the book interests you, but also tell us how much you pay for it. And Chris, as he does every time, he breaks it down live on the show. So Christopher, we're going to move on to the next segment, which is New Comic Book Day with Chet. I do believe you have to go to dinner. Is that correct?
You know how it is, man.
What's the main course before you leave?
I wasn't barbecue, but we put in the oven. Chicken. Mashed potatoes. It's what my son wanted, so yeah.
Something about chicken and mashed potatoes, right? Is that what you said? I couldn't hear because there was a ginormous echo.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna get this mic. We're gonna get this mic situation fixed. But until then, Chris, you have a great week, and we will hopefully see you back here next week.
Indeed. And I do want to say, big shout out to everyone submitting to Fresh from the Comic Shop. I just want to say I'm really excited because I have a pretty decent submission to EGS. I've been getting it together. Me and Tony have been in communication this week on some freaking labels, man. So I can't wait. Hopefully when I get them back, I'll be here for Fresh from the Comic Shop when I get those back so I could show them off. I have some for my personal collection. And then I'm also going to have some that I'm selling. So you'll probably see me on a live sale on Instagram or whatnot. So I just can't wait. I wanted to let everyone know. Remember, guys, check out EGS and Spider Dude. I actually have a package from Spider Dude coming real soon too that I'll be doing an unboxing for on my channel as well. Yes. Oh, one last thing. Spider Dude Comics. So they're having a massive sale right now, guys. They have select categories where you can save 25% off of anything from those categories. I do believe you need to buy like 5. I don't know if they're here tonight. I do believe it's like, buy 5, get 25% off. You also could piggyback with the code Journos10 for 10% more. And I think they're running that 25% off for like the rest of the month. So I just want to let everyone know you guys can save a total of 35%. But yeah, go check them out, man. EGS, Spider Dude. That's all I got.
Every time I took you full screen to get a picture of that sticker, you literally. One more time, Chris.
Just kidding.
Jeez. All right, Chris, thank you so much. Mike, your biggest test, your biggest part of the show is coming up after Chet's New Comic Book Day of the week, New Comic Book Day picks of the week. Check it out, everybody.
Hey, it's Chet G-Pot. And as usual, I'm going to be giving you my 3 picks for New Comic Book Day on Wednesday, September 13th. But before I get started, let me just say that this is a truly awful week for new comics. There's nothing even remotely worth reading, but I'm going to do my best to find the absolute dregs of the barrel. So, my first pick is Green Lantern number 3. I think it's somewhat interesting, but I'm not really impressed. The writing is blah, the art is passable, and the plot is predictable. I also think that the book is full of unnecessary exposition. Most of you don't even know what that means. Moving on. My second pick is Creepshow number 1. This is a new series based on the horror anthology TV show of the same name. But don't get your hopes up because it's just as bad as the show. The story is lame, the scares are non-existent, and the art is amateurish. But at least it has a preview of the upcoming Transformers comic, so that's something. And my third and final pick is Alligator Loki number 1. This is a new series about an alligator version of Loki as seen in the first season of Loki on Disney+. I'm not even going to bother describing it because it's so stupid that words cannot do it justice. So there you have it, my 3 picks for New Comic Book Day. I hope you enjoy reading them as much as I enjoyed not reading them. Drink your grape soda. Chet out.
You gotta love Chet. His picks of the week, Mike. Again, I don't know why he bothers. He's really gunning for the co-host position, and he may murder us one day. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, Mike, you might not have caught this a couple weeks ago. He showed up outside of my vacation home in North Carolina. He also infiltrated my backyard a few weeks ago when I was doing a comic sale. We didn't even realize it was him because he was wearing a really, really convincing disguise. But yeah,
your taste in comics is as bad as your fashion sense.
I mean, it shut you up right there. He got you. Anyways, all right, we're gonna move on to your favorite segment each and every week. It's one where you can win a wonderful monthly prize. I just can never remember the name. Joe always has to cue it up. So Joe, I'm gonna mute myself and you go for it.
I believe the segment founded by our forefathers shall forever be known as Fresh from the Comic Shop.
That's right. Fly from the pressing salon. We ask you, the audience, to send us in your fresh gets each and every week, and you never disappoint. That's right. Send in your fresh gets, and you can enter to win an amazing prize each and every week. EGS and Spider Dude combining to give us a monthly book of the month. That was terrible. Monthly book of the month. What y'all need to do? Your fresh gets up to Instagram. Hashtag FFTCS, but also be sure to tag us in the picture, not the description. Some of you did the description. You're lucky we caught it, but in the picture, tag Journals Comics, Comic Book Canon, 360 Comics. We'll be sure to see that. And every entry that you have, we show at least, we'll show one of them. Not some of you guys do 10 a week. We'll show one. And again, we get some amazing submissions. But the 3 criteria we look for, Mike, pay attention because you will be judging Fresh from the Comic Shop. You will be picking a semifinalist this week. We ask for a well-composed shot. Joe, do it with the well-composed shot. That's right. Think outside the box. Have it tie into the comic book. Give us some nice depth of field, nice color, nice lighting, etc., etc. An amazing person who does this is Justin, a.k.a. Raising Elm. Great shots each and every week. The second criteria we look for, a unique book. A unique book does not mean, Joe, what?
It doesn't mean that it's $30,000.
It could be $3, but a book we may never have seen before. Or it's an amazing sketch cover that is only unique to you. We actually have one of those submissions this week. Joe, I think you know what we're talking about. But something that goes a long... Yes, Joe, we absolutely have something from you this week. That's related to you. Just keep it at that.
Yeah.
But the thing that goes a long way for us, tug at our heartstrings. Tell us what this book means to you. Does it remind you of a family member? Does it remind you of the first book you pulled off a spinner rack that became a huge book like ASM 300, but you lost it in a flood and you had to go out and save all your money to buy a 9.8 somewhere else? Tell us what it means to you. Give us the story. Tug at our heartstrings. That absolutely goes a long way. Now, our amazing sponsors for this segment, EGS Comics and Spider Dude Comics. The links are down below. EGS is just an incredible slabbing company. They're very unique. They're small. Tony's a small business owner. He is part of this community. So we don't talk about products that we don't believe in here. No shit, no bullshit. EGS is fantastic. They have a proprietary case. I'm walking back here to get mine to show it off. It literally, Joe can confirm this, and Chris as well. Mike, you may be able to as well. It literally feels better than a CGC or CBCS. No bullshit here. But you also get 5% off your EGS order using the code Canon5. Optional custom labels, free grader's notes, and fast turnaround times. EGScomics.com, EGScomicsgrading.com. No shit. Again, we cannot recommend this company enough. This here, again, got the nice red and black gradient that matches the comic right here. It really is a nice case. You get the certificate as well that it comes with. Again, can't recommend these books enough. So with that being said, we're going to get into it. I'm going to run this. Again, we're having some issues. Who won the semifinals? Did we not? Oh, shit. I'm going to get to that in a sec. I'll get to that once Joe shows off or Mike shows off there for his first book. I'll look that up. My bad. We'll get into that. Oh, I think I know why you're asking, because you were in the semifinals. It was a close one, but we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it right now. I'll run the segment here, and you guys chime in when you want, and I'll mute myself. But before we do, here is the amazing book for the month of September. We have Extreme Venomverse number 2, the Peach Momoko variant. This 9.6, but look at the gorgeous again. Gradient we have here. It matches the book. It's a beautiful looking Momoko cover. So love to send that out and ship that out to one of you fine people. All right. First up, we do have semifinalists from last week who lost, by the way, and I'll let you know who the winner is. But he's got another great submission this week. If you had asked me this morning, hey, Pope, are you going to post for Multi-Key Monday? I would have said no way for a few reasons. One, I just made that up. Two, I had not yet made my first trip to the Captain Blue Hen flea market. All three of these were acquired today at the Labor Day event with multiple sellers in the parking lot. All high mid-grade copies at a very reasonable price. I sadly didn't catch the name of the outside seller where I bundled the Marvel Premiere and Special Edition with a few other books. Tag yourself if you see this, but the Avengers was picked up inside the store from their recent Avengers acquisitions, along with a bunch of $4 books from their unsorted new collection boxes. Definitely check this event out next time. They do it well. Thanks to Josh's Comics 01 for the heads up and 360 Comics for driving. Joe, well done.
Yeah, I actually have something to say about that. First of all, I have a book from that same event. Shout out to Josh for letting us know about that event. That's his hometown LCS that he goes to. And also for hanging out with me and Mike while we were down there. And third thing is I actually know who he bought those from. Guy's name is Jeff. You can find him on Instagram at Hulk197 Comics. Hulk197 being that awesome Bernie Wrightson cover. Shout out to him. I've known him for a couple years now, and we've done some deals back and forth. And I bought some stuff from him too.
Excellent. Great reference. Mike, I hope you're paying attention. That was the first submission right there. We have many more to get through. Here we go with Josh's Comics, who is not eligible to win, by the way, because he has already won this year. By the way, another thing to mention, we are going to have a yearly super book to win that all 12 winners, remember, we pick one winner per month. So we'll have 12 winners that will win the big book of 2023. We have to decide what that book is. It hasn't been decided yet, but that's another reason to enter. So Josh's Comics is not eligible to win, but this is such a great submission. Daredevil number 11, volume 5, the first appearance of Muse, a serial killer whose victims are used as his art. Once a $5 book, now holding around $30 to $40 raw. Due to the announcement that Muse will have a big role in Born Again, by the way, that's not official. Finding this Newman copy and only paying $2 definitely makes this worthy for props or flops, and is also my fresh from the comic shop for this week's episode of Comic Book Canon. I'm happy to add this amazing cover to the collection, and it not only is it an amazing cover, it's very well done what he did here. So I absolutely appreciate that. Mike, your first fresh get of the week. Remember, one at a time, not all at once. What do you got for us? I'm going to look up the semifinalists from last week. Here we go.
I'm showing off my books that you want to see.
That is correct. One book, fresh get.
Oh, man, it's killing me. I called an audible a couple times based on our conversations. All right, fresh. If it's fresh get, we got to go with this one. Doorway to Nightmare number 1, first Madame Xanadu, Mike Kaluta cover. I've been looking for this for a while. I found an error one at a comic show a few weeks ago, but I didn't love it. Found a really cheap one on eBay. It's in good shape. And I like Kaluta art, and it's obviously a very, very sort of alluring, great picture of Madame Xanadu. I love Justice League Dark. She's the one that puts the team together. I've been collecting first appearances. I really love this book. Had to have it.
Dude, that I actually have picked up a couple copies just in the past week.
Really?
Two from one dealer. Actually, Jeff, who Mike's submission was from, the triple keys that he got. That guy from the parking lot sale, Jeff. I bought 2 from him, and then I bought 1 today at Baltimore Comic-Con as well. So yeah, definitely a good pull. I think that book has book has some legs going forwards, in the new DC universe and all.
I think so too. There you go. My first one.
Very nice.
That is a great pickup. Great cover. And again, definitely has some potential there. But we do have our semifinalists from last week. It was Danny and Tessa with Transformers versus the horror pickup from Pope of Chillytown. And I kind of gave the spoilers here away. Guys, it was a close one. It was Danny and Tessa winning. I'm sorry. Why don't I make this big screen here?
Wow, 1%.
Yeah. Look at that. 2% technically. But it was very, very close. So congratulations, Dan and Tessa. You guys are moving on to the finals. You could possibly win this amazing EGS book of the month of September. Where is it? Right here. From EGS and Spider Dude. So they're in the finals. Congratulations. Sorry that was not brought up earlier in this segment. Moving on, we have good friend of the show, Comic Toby. What do you got? On the top left-hand corner, we have Batman Day 2023, Batman number 608, the foil variant special edition. This is my second one. They will only sell me one a day. I had to run over a few pedestrians in transit. Just kidding. We really hope you are. Danny and Tessa did have another submission this week as well. My picks for this week's Fresh from the Comic Shop segment of Comic Book Canon. We have Daredevil issue 176, 187, and 189. Issue 176 is the first appearance of Stick. Not many people know this, but my dad isn't technically my biological father. He's my stepdad, but he's been around my whole life. For that reason, I often call him Stick. As we all know, Stick trained Daredevil and was like a father figure to him. Issue 187 is the first appearance of the Chast, the rival group of the Hand. I used to be a member of a hip-hop group known as Living Proof Music Group, and I feel that we were similar to the Chast in some ways. Finally, we have the death of Stick in issue 189. I can't even begin to imagine the pain my dad is in after losing my grandpa. I hope that I won't have to feel that pain anytime soon. So right there, tug at our heartstrings for sure, but Danny and Tessa are not eligible because they are in the finals this month. So that's a great submission. Really appreciate that. Moving on. Oh, Joseph, what is your first fresh cut of the week? What do you got?
All right, so let's go with the book that I got from that parking lot sale. Again, that was at Captain Blue Hens Comics in Newark, Delaware. And Josh's Comics, who is in the chat now, he was the one that told us about it. And Mike and I took the drive down. It was only about an hour. Not only did the store have stuff for sale, but there was a bunch of stuff in the parking lot. This book I actually got from the store. They had just gotten a collection in recently. And the way they did things was they pulled all the big keys out. They pulled the books that the higher value stuff out. They put a lot of the rest out, the stuff that they didn't quite filter through yet, all out. And they were all available for $4 per book, meaning that it was kind of an opportunity to comb through and get some minor keys and some books that have some value for, certainly more than $4. And you can get it on the cheap before they went through and priced every book out individually. It's an interesting way to do things. I guess that's their way to do it if they get a bigger collection. Anyway, I found this book for $4. This is definitely worth more than $4. This is Gobbledygook #1 from Mirage Comics. Now, for those who don't know, Gobbledygook, the original, the first printing of Gobbledygook #1 has the first ever ad, the first ever printed page with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it. It predates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, and it had an ad. I believe the ad's actually on the back cover. So when you have a slabbed copy, you can see it. That is a very, very tough to find book. Now, I believe this is the reprint of that. It's either the reprint or it is the first book of the second volume. Nonetheless, sales online are kind of in the $15 to $25 range. And I picked it up for $4. So I thought that was a really great deal. And there were 2 copies. So great. Perfect. One for the PC, one for the claim sales. Everybody's happy. Someone's getting one of these. If you're looking for it, definitely look out for it in an upcoming claim sale.
That's a great pickup right there. Would you consider that a unique book?
Yeah. I mean, I have never seen that printing. In fact, I didn't even know that existed. And I haven't done enough research on it. So I'm not sure. And if you know, please put it in the chat. whether that is a reprint of issue number 1, or if that is like a second volume of the book. Either way, anything from mid-'80s Mirage has some value to it due to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all those crossovers.
For sure. I really like that pickup. By the way, I just want to point out Bronzeville Comics. Mike, couldn't you find any Celtics or Pats swag to wear? And you did answer socks and underwear, which is probably true. So really enjoying that. All right, moving on. We have C to the G, who is also a winner, but God, I love the submission, everybody. Look at that. If it's not Star Wars, well, it's not Star Wars. What is a better way to fill that negative space than Mandalorian Season 3 left you with? How about some positive memories of how exciting Season 2 was? The introduction of Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, the return of Boba Fett, to name a few. But let's not forget that Luke reveal at the end that made me and every adult cry those happy tears. So let's go revisit them here in the new volume from Marvel. Star Wars, The Mandalorian, #1, Season 2. John, Tyler, Christopher, Negative Space, Grogu, and Din Djarin variants. This is so well done. C to the G. I really appreciate this. Guys, everybody, remember we're talking about thinking outside the box. Look at how the colors match the background of each of the books, how he lined both of the books up. That's well thought out. Comments from you both, please.
Yeah, he's not eligible. C to the G has won already. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Because I mean that definitely is an awesome submission. I'm loving that we're getting this extended Star Wars universe. My only complaint about it is that they just need to let go of the Skywalkers. They need that to not be the selling point on every single release. But nonetheless, I think the other characters are gaining the traction and popularity they need to hold things for their own. So let's hope that continues. Mike, what do you think?
Star Wars in general and the direction of it.
Yeah, or that book, whatever.
I know the book's awesome looking, obviously. Like,
yeah.
It's absolutely killer. I've never even seen that before, so that's pretty fresh. Yeah, no, it's an awesome artistic take on it, and it's someone I saw someone mention a little while earlier. They said they've seen my stuff, and I don't show many modern books. I do collect modern books. I just usually don't show them on the channel, but I do have some modern Star Wars books, some Mandalorian books, because I do enjoy the channel. I guess my hot take, if you're asking, is I like the new Disney Plus Star Wars stuff. I like it, but I'm such a purist. I have a hard time. I do like Dave Filoni. Anything he touches, I think, is really good. But whenever it strays away from him too much, it's apparent. It's obvious. You watch Ahsoka, it kills. Andor is my favorite thing by far, just because it wasn't filmed in front of a screen, and you can tell. With actually filming outdoors, it makes a big difference in terms of scope. But in general, I don't love The Mandalorian. I like it. I enjoy it. I watch every episode, but I'm not I don't go nuts for it. Yeah. Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. I sense some hesitation on your part when you're expressing your opinions. And I hear you. Like, honestly, what they did for Andor and they built gigantic sets. I think they had 2,000 extras as a part of the whole series. I mean, that's like a feature film right there. It's fantastic. Andor by far has been the best series. I really enjoy The Mandalorian as well. But Ahsoka has been kicking ass. I absolutely love it. We're not going to give away any spoilers here. We stopped talking about that. Because we didn't want to give away spoilers, but I can't recommend it enough. It's really got me intrigued, and I can't wait. This is not a spoiler, but they have rebels entrenched in every episode, and that's just such a good thing. So, anyways, moving on. I do want to comment on one thing here. Please, P. Keel, I'm more important than you're right. It is Bumblebee, which is a great Transformers film. Joe doesn't care about Transformers. I just want to mention that. Moving on here. What do we have? We have C to the G. We now have Dr. Plagueis coming up. Dr. Plagueis here always does it well. Look at this. Always does it well. Ties everything into the book, which is the most important thing. Picked up this really cool Wizard Magazine exclusive 1/2 special while on vacation. This is one of the earliest complete series I had as a kid, even though it was only 3 issues. I remember how accomplished and cool I felt. It's really cool to still be finding these books 20 plus years later. That's why we do this thing here each and every week. Because again, that's what it's about. It's not only about the current creative direction of a lot of these characters, but it's also about the nostalgia that we do have with all of this. And just as we spoke about with Star Wars, it has touched all of us in different ways, depending on how old you are or your interests, but it's very special. And that right there is a great submission. And yes, you are right, Jim. Joe is too young to care about Transformers. Have you graduated high school yet? This could be illegal.
I'm in 11th.
By the way, Jim says he's too old to care about Transformers. That could be true too, actually. And here we go, guys. I don't want to hype this up or preface it with anything because again, this is all on you, Mike. You decide the direction of the segment. You decide the winners here. But this here is pretty special. That's the reaction. Oh, wait till you hear what this is, Mike. That's the reaction I expected from you, actually. Got a very special package from 360 Comics, aka Joe, yesterday from his claim sale. He graciously accepted to do his first sketch and sign on Action Comics 1000. As with all works from the great masters, one is left speechless. His Spider Derp is a searing indictment of our times and bound to be an enduring classic. I'm humbled to have this one of one collectible. That makes this a unique book. I'm going to pull it off screen here for a second. Joe, please talk.
Yeah, so the great Mark Leneker hopped into my claim sale and I had that sketch cover up and he was like, I'll claim that if you do a sketch on it. And I don't ever half-ass things. I don't ever I go all out. And I certainly went all out on this one. I started off, I was like, oh, I'm going to draw the derpy Spider-Man meme. Like, that'll be funny. And I drew it. And then I was like, all right, I should make him say something. Oh, let's make him say a Batman line. And then I was like, I was originally going to attribute it to Superman, but I was like, oh, let's actually just go indie and like do Spawn. Of course, I spelled everything wrong. Put a fake Stan Lee signature on it with an arrow that says very real. I don't know if you can see that. Might be a little too small. And then, of course, got to put my 360 logo down there with exclusive 101, 360 variant. And last but not least, signed the cover, which, given that I'm on a YouTube channel where we have 26 million subscribers or 26 million viewers currently, obviously that signature probably worth more than a real Stan Lee signature. So yeah, big thanks to Mark Leneker for having me do that. It was a lot of fun. If someone would ask again, I would totally do it again. Had a good time with it.
Now, Mike, I don't want to give anything away with the suspense here of what direction you're going to go into in picking today's semifinalists, but feel free to comment on this. Just a few words. Go for it.
It might be my favorite thing I've seen all day. It definitely made me laugh harder than anything I've seen today. Yeah, no, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give too much away here, but I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying it.
Those are wise words right there. Enjoying is actually kind of an understatement.
It's a thing.
There you go. All right, moving on. We got to get through this here. We're jamming through here. This is my first fresh get of the week, which actually was today. And I know I saw this on Key Collector, and y'all think about what you want for Key Collector. It doesn't run anybody like my life by any means, but this thing is very cool. The Daredevil black armor suit. This is where it debuts. It is Daredevil 321. Got it for $3 because who knows? Born Again, maybe it'll come in, but it's just such a cool cover because it's also a glow in the dark cover as well. Yeah. And I just decided to get two. Why not? Right? They were $3 each. So don't hate me. Don't hate on me, Joe. Please don't.
I wasn't going to hate on you.
No, you never do. I always hate on you, and that's what I have to admit. By the way, were you just getting echo when you said something?
I was.
Anyways, moving on. Who do we have? Well, we have Raising Elm. This is, again, he does a fantastic job. And this right here, this is serious stuff because tomorrow is September 11th. Those of you who are around those days, we all remembered. It's etched in our brains where we were, what we were doing. So I'd like to read this whole thing from Justin, aka Raising Elm. During lunch the other day, I had some time to visit my favorite local comic shop, Geektopia at Kilgore. While I was searching for the next book to add to mine and my son's PC, I came across another copy of this collaboration issue by Marvel. Instantly, I was hit with a wave of memories and emotions that hadn't necessarily been forgotten, but memories that had been buried under day-to-day responsibilities. I don't think any of us have truly forgotten about the tragic events that happened that morning in New York over 20 years ago. That evening, my dad led a candlelight vigil through our neighborhood in honor and memory of those that were lost that day. Neighbors slowly joined us as the sirens wailed on the fire trucks that led our walk that night. It hit us all hard, but no one more than my dad, whom has proudly served as a firefighter in various roles since before I was born. He was good friends with some of those brave men that answered the call that fateful morning. When the dust settled, he went to New York to visit with his comrades, and he brought back this book for me, the one on the left. If you see a first responder, shake their hand and tell them thank you, because they carry the weight of these memories more than we know. And on Monday, remember to have a moment of silence in remembrance of all those that were lost that day. As for my dad, I love him with all my heart, and he is and will always be my superhero. This hits all of us. For those of us watching in the States, it is important to always remember, politics aside, people, this is such a divisive country, but I remember specifically during this time how it brought everybody together. And I don't want a tragic event for that to happen, because again, we were living in divisive times, but I would like a semblance of feeling together. So I'll feel free to you guys can comment before we move on to the next part here. Feel free.
Yeah. I mean, like what you said, like I was a kid, I was 11 years old during 9/11, and I didn't get the gravity of the situation at the time. But even though I didn't quite understand it and stuff like that, I can tell you everything that I did for the rest of that day. The announcement came on while I was at school. We got sent home early. I could tell you every aspect of the rest of that day, and honestly, the weeks after that, and the things that changed in our school and home environments. And it's just, it is certainly the most impactful and significant event of my lifetime. And quite honestly, it might end up continuing to be in that spot forever. So yeah, I mean, just like I always say regarding anyone and anything and any situation, just tell your family and friends you love them. Always important, because you never know when they might be taken away for any reason. So think about that tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I was in college when it happened. I remember every second of that day. I'll never forget it. Same thing, Joe. Most impactful moment of my life. Really. But you just hit it on the head in the end there. After that whole day, all the craziness there, my dad was having a hard time getting a hold of me. He just wanted to talk. He just wanted to say hi, and he wanted to hear my voice. He just wanted to hear my voice. It puts everything in perspective when those types of things happen. And Jeff, you said it brings everyone together. You're right. It makes you realize what's important. And guess what, guys? It ain't comic books. It's not movies. It's not TV. It's the loved ones that we have. So unfortunately, there's events like that snap us back to reality. But yeah, tell people you love them, guys.
Yeah, that's well said. And another thing to point out is how comic books can kind of, memorialize things, talk about history, be a example of that moment in time. And there's a lot of reasons why this hobby is so important to all of us, but those aspects as well, because again, it's real life, and a lot of these things are dealing with real life. So okay, not an easy way to segue from that, but Justin, that was a great submission. Mike, you're gonna have the honor of being the segue by showing us your second fresh get. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to change it up, okay? Because we've had so much talk about TMNT. You guys showed that fantastic book. And I got to point out, I live in Western Massachusetts. I grew up outside of Boston, but I live out in Western Mass. I live
The Tick!
Yeah, I live a couple towns away from Northampton, which is Mirage Studios. And we find TMNT books everywhere. And not only that, but Eastman Alerts show up randomly at like comic book shops and shows all the time, like uninvited. They'll show up and just sign books. So I recently had a buddy of mine, actually Rohan of Absolute Game of Nerds podcast, has been looking for this book. And of course, I have a buddy who's out here, and I got it for him. So this is the Raphael issue right here. Pretty awesome, pretty great copy. Got him a pretty awesome deal. But I'm actually going to cheat and show 3 books because while I was meeting my buddy Josh, who I got this from, another local guy in Western Mass, he finds this stuff everywhere. So we have issue number 3 right here, the blue cover. By the way, this also comes in a very rare white variant where they did it for a special New Hampshire comic show. In that first print run, it was less blue. It's super rare, and I've actually found one in the wild before. Again, you probably won't find it outside of New England, but they are out there, and you can look at this sign right here if you're ever looking. And same thing, we get number 4, which when they start going to full color on the covers, you see all the Ninja Turtles all have their same color masks. This is before they had the differentiation, because of course the comics are in black and white, so they were all red at first. So I want to point all these through. I know I cheated, but I just got these yesterday. Pretty cool. I even found a TMNT number 1 third print in an antique store the next town over from me. They're everywhere.
Whoa. You're not cheating. That's very, because you're tying it all in, right? So that is incredibly cool, especially the little tidbits of Eastman and Laird, and especially how, being that it's a New England based company, or it was, how it's easier to, well, not easy, but you can still find these gems out there. Joe, your thought?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, sorry, I yelled over you. I thought you were going to say like, TMNT's great, but I thought you were going to talk about the Tick, who also was based in the New England area and originated from that area. So I started yelling the Tick.
Sure. Yeah, no, there's another one. We have a lot of unique claims to fame up here. Yep.
Yeah. But also, I think it might have 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a Raphael number 1 as my Fresh from the Comic Shop submission. So,
oh really?
Yeah, that's twice in the last month.
Well, if I knew that, maybe I would have shown it. But that's cool.
But you didn't have a number 5, and I can't remember what the blue one was. Number 3, I think.
It's 3. Yeah, blue is 3.
They were in that collection, but I just showed off the 1.
Yeah,
he's still one up you. He's still one up you. All right, moving on here. We got Nori Jordan, and let me tell you, he's not eligible either, but he's the biggest Thunderbolts fan you will ever meet, Mike. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. And this is what he has. Nori Jordan, aka Jordan Nori. I promised a big Thunderbolts book this week, so here we go. To the very best of my knowledge, I have every possible Thunderbolts book from every series except Volume 2. There were 5 ratios that I had been missing, but I was lucky enough to reduce this to 4 by getting Thunderbolts number 4, 1 in 50 tan Deadpool variant. I've only seen this book available twice in the past 2 years, and sadly, this book is not cheap. I decided to act quickly on this beautiful book because Deadpool is hot right now. This book could be a 9.8 contender, but I am just glad to add it to my Thunderbolts collection. The journey continues, and next week brings a return of a book that broke my heart to sell months back. Take care, everyone. That's a nice looking book right there. Glad you have that, and also glad you don't own all of the actual available copies for that book to let other people own it. Joseph, your second fresh get of the week. What do you got?
Yeah. So Pope of Chili Town earlier this week messaged me and said that he was doing a local show, and I hadn't heard about this local show. It was sponsored by a fire hall and held at a church, and apparently they're going to try to grow it every year. But this is the first year they did it, and there were a bunch of dealers there. I think 12 different comic book dealers. One of them was a guy, he sells under the name Fish Scale Comics. And there's actually 2 guys that I believe sell under that name on Instagram together. They kind of run the page together, I guess. Not exactly sure, but I've bought from them before. They actually both came to my house for Back to Comic Fest once. And one of the books that I grabbed, I just loved the cover. I just loved it. You know, I love horror stuff. This is like early Silver, early Marvel. This is like pre-hero Marvel. So this is Tales to Astonish. But it's the pre-hero stuff. So this is issue number 8 of Tales to Astonish. This was probably still under the Atlas name, but I just love this cover. I'm a huge fan of the Universal monster movies, as I think I've spoken about many times on this show. And we've got this like cool mummy cover, and I love Egyptian history and also like the Egyptian myth side of things. And oh man, I thought this was just such a cool cover. I ended up bundling this together with actually some pre-code horror books and other keys and stuff like that, getting a really good deal. So shout out to Fish Scale, and really, really awesome cover there.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I love that cover, especially the fact that you look at it closely and the mummy's actually a giant and that little guy running in the bottom right corner. Oh, fantastic. Very cool book.
People underneath.
Very cool book. But we have a couple more cool books to get through from other people. It's not just about you, Joe. Sorry. Here we go. Son of Comics, Spider-Verse #1, Walmart variant from 2019, signed by Shamik Moore. This is such a great Spider-Man book. And to own one signed by Shamik Moore, I was just blown away. This is definitely a gem for the collection. Into the Spider-Verse has cemented itself into comic book history as a great movie and as a great comic to collect. Miles Morales has turned into the Neo of comic books. That's an interesting analogy. And now he's taken over the big screen. I can't believe what I'm seeing with this character. Shout out to Journals Comics, the guy who called it spot on from the beginning. Go give the homie a follow. Please enjoy the drop. We definitely enjoyed the drop, and we love Chris, a.k.a. Journos. He is a co-host of the show, but he's eating dinner right now. I'm going to go with my second fresh get of the week. And, again, I don't know. This popped out at me. I felt like I had to buy books today for Fresh from the Comic Shop. Today was the only day I had to go out. There wasn't much I wanted to get there. But I always like picking up these types of books, these 90s books that are newsstands. This is Hulk Annual 19. Not only is it a newsstand, not only is it a first appearance of a character called Lazarus, but it's also inside the poly bag too. So very happy to see that. Again, not something that's lighting the world on fire, but I just wanted to pick it up. It's not a bad cover either. That could be Gary Frank. Anyways, moving on. So this right here is actually Mike, we're gonna have you do your last fresh get of the week because we're gonna do the next one and then you're gonna have to get to work. So what do you got?
Okay, I'm gonna change it up. I had another monster book. I'm really excited. Tried a couple Swamp Things, but I'm changing it. I need to do something else. All right. My favorite franchise is X-Men, right? My favorite writers, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Dave Cockrum covers. Those are like the holy trinity of X-Men books. So I'm going to show you guys a book from the 70s. It's the first appearance of a major X-Men character, written by Chris Claremont, art by John Byrne, pencils, cover by Dave Cockrum, and it's not an X-Men book. And I want the audience to guess.
I know what it is.
I know you know what it is.
So we're going to have them guess right now. So what we're going to do, y'all say it one more time, Mike. I'm going to show the last book of the week. One more time, explain it. Everybody guess in the comics here, our comments. Go ahead, Mike.
So the book is a first appearance of a major X-Men character. The book is written by Chris Claremont, pencils by John Byrne, cover by Dave Cockrum, but it's not an X-Men title. What is it?
Very interesting. Now, while you all are guessing, we are going to check out the last fresh get of the week from Nukes Comics. Again, guys, this is a great example of depth of field in terms of photography and things like that, where the background kind of drops off and is blurred and you're just focused on the subject right here. Nukes always does that for us. Fresh from the comic shop, Amazing Spider-Man #4. Spidey gets a life-saving assist from a familiar face and is able to make his escape. He busts his way through throngs of Tombstone's men disguised as Rose's soldiers. Or are they? By the time Spider-Man realizes he's been duped by Tombstone, it's too late. Fast-paced story by Wells, action-packed art by John Romita Jr. I picked this up from DBS. Good stuff indeed. I have to mention it. I don't think this run is getting its fair share or its due. I enjoyed this book right here. I read this as well. It makes me feel like the Spider-Man books I grew up reading. The McFarlane type stuff, Eric Larson type stuff. I really, really, really enjoy it. And I highly recommend it, even if you want to read it on Marvel Unlimited. So that's a great, great submission right there. We are done with submissions right now. Mike is going to be showing off his third fresh get of the week. Then he's going to get to work on his three most interesting picks, but he's going to have to pick one from those three. But here we go. We have some answers. And again, my mic's all jacked up. So I'm going to let Joe kind of go through these answers here.
All right. So the first guess was Alpha Flight, but they first appear in an X-Men book. So it's not going to be that one. And we got to guess that it's Wetworks, and I don't think that's the correct answer. Avengers Annual 10 is a solid guess. That would be the first appearance of Rogue, but that's an Al Milgrom cover, not a a book cover. We also have an I don't know and I don't know I'm high. Sorry, that is not the correct answer. I think I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Something came to mind right away.
What
Do you want me to say it, Mike? Do you want me to take my guess?
Go for it.
The first thing that came to mind, and I know it's a Cockrum cover, and I know it was written by Claremont, and I guess the interiors definitely could be by John Byrne. Is it Iron Fist 14 First Sabretooth?
Nailed it. So there's a close distinction, right? Because also first appearance of Mystique, Ms. Marvel has 2 of those 3 guys as well. But you nailed it. This is actually a Cockrum and Milgram cover written by Chris Claremont, pencils by John Byrne. First appearance of Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth. What do we say? Longtime X-Men villain, sometimes ally, always arch enemy of Wolverine, Logan. Yeah, I got this book on eBay, and it was a middle of the week auction. You guys know those ones where people put it up for bid, but it ends on like Wednesday at 2 and no one's looking at it. I had credit card points, for a gift card. I threw a little bit at this thing, and I ended up, after the gift card and taxes and everything and shipping, it was $82. So
no,
it's a little stain, a little bit of water. I'm sending it to my buddy Jeff at Comic Spot to clean up. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't say no to this. This was an auto buy for me, so I was pretty happy I got it. Killer book,
wow.
The holy trinity of X-Men books, and I like Iron Fist on top of that. So
that's amazing. What do you think the grade is on that? Because it looks pretty nice from here.
Yeah, again, there is some staining on it. You guys can't see it because it's in the blue. It's a little bit darker up here, and there's a little bit down here. It's one of those things that even with the press, you're not having that. You have to do like an aqueous bath, which I'm not doing. It's not worth that much, So I would say it's probably a 4 or 5, maybe a 5.
Wow, and you got it for
after my $100 credit card points, I ended up costing me with shipping $82.
Wow, I'll tell you this. I currently have one that a couple people have made offers on. My price on it is $200, and mine is a raw, roughly 4.0 to 4.5. So probably a little bit lower grade than the one in your hand, and you got it for half the price.
And that's what I was looking for. I was in that 200, low 200s range, and when I just threw the low bid and I wanted it, I said, okay, again, if it was a weekend sale, there's no way. That's what sold it.
Yeah. The way you framed that, Mike, was outstanding. By the way, outstanding and great pickup right there. So, Mike, you have some work to do. You have to decide 3 interesting submissions, but you're going to have to pick one out of that. We'll show off those 3. Now, before you do, Joe and I are going to show off our last Fresh Gets of the week. But before we do that, I just want to point out a comment here. It's kind of strange. It's crazy to see all these veteran comic book YouTube trying to get some clout by having Mike on their channel to get some of his fans interested in their channel. It's just desperation. Here's the deal. We run a positive channel. It's a community-driven channel. We love people like Mike. Mike is doing great with his YouTube channel. We have people that have like 100 followers on the YouTube channel. So it's not really a sign of desperation for us. I just wanted to address that. We're happy that you're here watching it. And if you like it, like it. If you don't, be sure to, there's one of those things, and we're happy to have you do that too. So go for it. Now, Joe.
I just want to say the next comment by that person. You could mute yourself.
Oh.
I'm gonna mute you. The next comment by that person, we should have smaller people on. We literally have people without a YouTube channel on. We have people that don't really do a lot of the social media stuff on all the time. You know that if you watch, but hey, it's okay if you don't. We don't need that type of negativity in here. But thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out.
I will say,
let's get back to Fresh.
Elena, absolutely. But I have like met Joe in real life too, so it's like before I was that big. So, yes, I'm just happy to be here.
I mean, at this point, the only thing we don't like about you is you're a Boston sports fan. But other than that, it's been great. Moving on.
I thought we were all the time, except for today.
That's why we don't like you. Listen, again, long story with the whole Dallas thing. But go, Joe, your last Fresh Guest of the week. What do you got?
Yeah, so I got a pretty cool one right here. This is PC all day. This was my like big PC pickup. I always try when I go to a con, always try to pick up like one bigger thing for the personal collection, and this was certainly the book of the day today. Pre-code horror, one of my favorite genres. We got Chamber of Chills number 7. This is a really, really cool book. It's nice mid-grade, 5.5, and it honestly looks better than a 5.5. It does have a little bit of staining on the back up in that corner. It's probably pretty hard to see, but I think that is probably what brought it down. And the really cool thing about this book, I mean, it's got a great Johnny Craig cover. Sorry, not Al Avison cover. But the real cool thing about it is that it was used in The Seduction of the Innocent book, which is the book that went on to challenge the comic book industry and led to the Comics Code Authority. Definitely a huge player in the fact that pre-code horror is so scarce at this point due to book burnings and all those things that happened during that time. Quite honestly, a witch hunt against comic books and comic book creators and publishers and stuff like that. But this book, such a good one for the PC. And it actually even says on the CGC label, used in Seduction of the Innocent. There's dozens of books used, examples. The really cool thing is that the example for this one is wild. In this issue, a giant crab kills a woman, and then her husband turns into a giant crab and eats her body. And they called it like a sick fantasy or something like that, which is wild. But super cool book. Definitely a historically significant book and a solid grade on something that is over 70 years old at this point.
Those are great books to have. You're finding a lot of those recently, I feel like, because you're definitely going outside the box in terms of your fresh gets. I'm going to make mine quick. Again, same run to the shop today with this right here. This is a good find. I think both of you guys will agree this was a good find. It was $5 for Fantastic Four 353, the first appearance of Mr. Mobius, who is in Loki season 1 and Loki season 2. I got it for $5, guys.
Nice.
So that's not bad. I ain't mad, right? I just rhymed again. So Mike, here it is, man. This, how like presidents have legacies, right? This right here is going to be your legacy of being a guest co-host in Comic Book Canon. And it's not something that we take lightly, our audience members take lightly, and you should not as well. Joe, please add on to that, and then Mike, go for it. Give us your 3 most interesting submissions, and then the one that moves on to the semifinals.
Yeah, like Jeff said, this is extremely important because you are solidifying your place here. You are picking someone that is going to be a semi-finalist, maybe even a finalist, maybe even a monthly winner, and may go on to even be the yearly winner for 2023. So this is honestly probably the most important thing that you've done in your life, given we are a massive YouTube channel currently with 26 million viewers. And we plucked you. We plucked you from obscurity, your small little 9,000 subscriber channel, and we put you up here, and we're raising you up on this pedestal here. So we need you to come through. We need you to show us your 3 best, your 3 favorite. Tell us why, and then pick a winner for the week. Go ahead.
So I took notes because that was a lot, and I'm happy I did. I'll go right on the list really quick. The first one, and I didn't write down the name quick enough. You guys did it too quick, but it sounds like it was at the same sale as you, Joe. First, Iron Fist, Black Knight, and Shang-Chi. 3 characters I love. Thinking about that one. Then you gave me 3 that are not eligible, correct? You got Josh's First Muse isn't eligible. The Daredevils aren't eligible. Despite the fact that 189, The Death of Stick, I love that cover. That's one of my favorites. Absolutely. C to the G, that Mando Grogu Din Djarin cover. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, it's awesome. And I'd never seen that before. So that's fantastic. But also not eligible, right? Dr. Plagueis. I got to say this. Of all the people that have been commenting on my channel for a while, and I try to respond to every single person that leaves a comment. Every single one. I read every single one. And there is very few that leave me reliable, awesome comments and supports my channel more than Dr. Plagueis. So if I'm playing favorites, and I like Boba Fett, he's going to be in there. We have Mark, Joe's sketch, which it does make me laugh every single time. The next was Raising Elm, the comic, the 9/11 comic. Obviously, it's took a serious turn there after Joe's silly sketch. A good time to remember what tomorrow is about. After that, we have Nori Jordan, the Thunderbolts, biggest Thunderbolts fan of all time. And then we have the Son of Comics, the Spider-Verse 1 with Shameik Moore signature is pretty cool. I got to see Shameik Moore speak at a convention one time. He's a wicked cool dude. And then the last one, Nukes is ASM, right? So this is difficult. So I guess if I was to pick my top 3, in third place, I'm going to have to pick, well, I guess I'll just name the 3 first, right? I got to put Joe's sketch on there just because, again, if I haven't had a good laugh today and I needed that. I wanted to disqualify it because it's, one of the hosts here, but it just, come on, guys. It's worth putting up on the screen one more time.
I appreciate it.
I got to put Dr. Plagueis in there again because he's a support. I'm totally playing favorites. I completely admit it, but it's very cool. And I think for the third one, I think, and I'm gonna have to just name the winner right now. Again, I got to name Raising Elms. He pulled at our heartstrings a little bit, but again, tomorrow's about remembering what's important, and he literally sort of stopped this live stream for us to remember that. And there's something to be said about that, and still found a way to tie it into comic books. So I'm going to pick that as the winner to go to the semifinals today.
That's an excellent pick. Raising Elm has been in many semifinals. He's never won. This is his heaviest one that he's submitted. Usually it's way lighter tone. Again, I'm going to bring it up because it's very important to all of us just to remember this day. There's so many factors that go into this thing. But again, I'm speaking for me personally. I just remember bringing the country and everybody together, no matter who you were, where you're from, etc. So yeah, I agree. I don't know, Joe, if you have extra comments on that.
Yeah. I mean, hands down, it is like I said, the most important event of my lifetime and honestly most of our lifetimes. And I think that this was done in a very tasteful way, in a very, very respectful way, and great submission. Raising Elm brings the heat every week. And this one really, really, oh man, pulled the heartstrings. Yeah, we all stopped talking about comic books for a few minutes here on a comic book YouTube channel, and that's saying something. So thank you for that, Justin.
Absolutely. And again, Mike, thank you so much for joining us, for real. You're an outstanding member of this community. We appreciate spending this time with you. Again, I say this every week. Time is our most precious commodity. We appreciate the time you spent with us, the time the audience spends with us each and every week. Again, y'all better be following Mike, because if he doesn't get 10 extra followers by the end of the night, this is the end of Comic Book Canon. And that's a lot that should be weighing on you, the audience. But again, we appreciate you all as a community, because we really do come together on a Sunday night to talk about comic books, other things as well. But Mike, we'll give you some final words here before Joe closes us out.
Again, thank you guys for having me on here. I've said this since my channel began. It's only been a year, but a long time ago, I felt like it stopped being about the comic books. I started the channel because I had no one to talk about comic books with. None of my friends, I have lots of friends who are into nerdy stuff, but comics was like my little side thing, right? But when I started, I just needed to speak to the ether about these things I was finding at flea markets and yard sales. And the fact that people responded at first was amazing. And the fact that more and more people, not only people I've talked with in line and people I've made friends with online, people in real life that I become lifelong friends with. I mean, and there are people all the time, people have been on this, chat thread, they're on speed dial. I'm texting them constantly. It's that community that I had no idea. I had no idea it was this great. I've not met a bad comic book collector. Everyone, we all have that common thread. Everyone comes from different walks of life, but we have that one thing, and every person I talk to feels like I've been lifelong friends with them. So I thank you guys for having me on here. Again, it's just fact. I met, Joe, for 10 minutes at a show. Immediately, I liked you, Joe. It's one of those things. And so when you guys asked me, without hesitation, always happy. I'll talk about comic books any night of the week. Doesn't have to be Sunday night. You guys ask me, I'll be there. So thank you guys for having me. It's been pretty awesome.
Joe, that's I set you up to. I didn't want to talk over you because then you'd echo.
Oh,
but I set you up to close it out.
Yeah. You know, the second I met you, just like you said, I knew I had heard the name Lunch Money Comics. I had heard people reference your video. Since then, though, since meeting you, I watch it, you know, probably I think I've watched almost all your videos since then. And I owe you one because you shouted me out in a video about my 5 favorite covers of all time. And I still have not gotten around to making that video, but I owe you one, man. And thanks for coming on the show. You know, obviously we have some detractors in the comments about it, but you're on the show not because you have a million followers. Like, you're on the show because you are a great member of the community, and you know, your actions in the community as well as your presence and, you know, your kindness and your outgoingness, that's what brought you on here. You know, I hope you come back sometime. We often have people
Anytime.
come back.
I really appreciate that too.
Yeah, do some follow-up stuff. And, you know, you won't, the nice thing is next time you're on, you're co-host. You don't have to go through the ringer anymore. But yeah, if you got something going on with you, feel free, reach out to us. You're always welcome back.
Awesome. I appreciate that, guys.
Absolutely. And again, to all you fine audience members, we appreciate it. I still don't understand what this person's saying, but I'm done with it. We said what we are. We know what we are. Our friends here know what we are as well. So, and as well as Mike. So again, y'all, tomorrow is a day just to reflect, just to think about things. It is, Justin, thank you for bringing this up, bringing that submission in there. Very well done. But as always, every week, just, you know, y'all should be good to yourselves, be good to others. We'll be back next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Until then, peace.